Hello family, welcome to our channel. Today we will delve into a topic that many Ugandans rarely discuss in public for fear of government machinery. We will look at how President Museveni came to power, how he transformed Uganda before becoming a nightmare for Ugandans. Before we start, please click the subscribe button below for you not to miss on other great insights on the African continent. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is a figure who has loomed large over Uganda's political landscape for decades. Born on August 15, 1944 in Ntungamo, a district in southwestern Uganda, Museveni's early life was defined by the rural backdrop of his upbringing. His parents were cattle herders, and he grew up in a modest household, attending local schools before moving on to more prestigious institutions. His educational journey began at Mbarara High School and later Ntare School, where he started to show an interest in politics and social issues. This early exposure to the struggles of his people laid the groundwork for his future as a revolutionary and leader. In the late 1960s, Museveni's political journey took a significant turn when he moved to Tanzania to attend the University of Dar es Salaam. There, he was deeply influenced by Marxist and Pan-Africanist ideas, which were the intellectual fashion of the time. The university was a melting pot for future African leaders and revolutionaries, providing Museveni with an environment that fostered his revolutionary ideologies. He became involved in various liberation movements across Africa, building a network of contacts and gaining a reputation as a dedicated and capable activist. The political turbulence in Uganda escalated when Idi Amin seized power in a military coup in 1971. Amin's regime was marked by widespread human rights abuses, economic decline, and international isolation. Museveni, disillusioned by Amin's brutality, formed the Front for National Salvation, FRONASA, to oppose Amin's dictatorship. FRONASA operated as a guerrilla force, conducting small-scale operations against Amin's forces. Museveni's involvement in the anti-Amin struggle was a crucial period that honed his skills in guerrilla warfare and deepened his commitment to liberating Uganda from oppressive regimes. After the overthrow of Amin in 1979, Uganda entered a phase of political instability. The Uganda National Liberation Front, UNLF, took power, and Museveni was appointed as the Minister of Defence. However, his time in the transitional government was short-lived. In 1980, following a controversial election that saw Milton Obote return to power, Museveni alleged massive electoral fraud and declared an armed rebellion. This marked the beginning of the National Resistance Army, NRA guerrilla war, a 5-year conflict centred in the Luwero Triangle. NRA, under Museveni's leadership, waged a relentless and strategic guerrilla campaign against Obote's government. The conflict was brutal, with significant casualties and widespread displacement of civilians. However, Museveni's forces gradually gained ground, thanks in part to their disciplined approach and popular support among the rural population. By January 1986, the NRA had captured Kampala, and Museveni was sworn in as the President of Uganda on January 26, 1986. His ascension to power was seen by many as the dawn of a new era, filled with promises of democracy, stability and prosperity. In the early years of his presidency, Museveni introduced several reforms aimed at rebuilding Uganda's shattered economy and infrastructure. His government liberalised the economy, attracting foreign investment and aid. He implemented structural adjustment programs recommended by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank, which, despite their controversial nature, helped stabilise the economy. Under his leadership, Uganda saw significant improvements in healthcare, education and infrastructure. The introduction of universal primary education and the expansion of healthcare services were notable achievements that earned Museveni international praise. However, Museveni's presidency was not without its challenges and controversies. One of the most significant issues was his involvement in regional conflicts. Museveni's government played a pivotal role in the Rwandan Civil War, supporting the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, led by Paul Kagame. This involvement was instrumental in ending the genocide, but also embroiled Uganda in regional instability. Furthermore, Uganda's participation in the Second Congo War in the late 1990s drew international criticism and accusations of resource exploitation. Domestically, Museveni faced the persistent threat of the Lord's Resistance Army, LRA, a brutal rebel group led by Joseph Kony. The LRA waged a vicious insurgency in northern Uganda, characterized by mass abductions, atrocities, and displacement. Museveni's government struggled to contain the LRA, and the conflict resulted in immense human suffering. Despite several military campaigns and peace talks, the LRA remained a significant threat for many years, further complicating Museveni's efforts to stabilize the country. As Museveni consolidated his power, his commitment to democratic principles began to wane. The 2005 constitutional referendum, which abolished presidential term limits, marked a significant shift towards authoritarianism. This move allowed Museveni to extend his rule indefinitely, raising concerns about his intentions to cling to power. Elections in Uganda became increasingly fraught with allegations of fraud, intimidation and violence. Opposition leaders such as Dr. Kizza Besigye faced harassment, arrest and brutal treatment, highlighting the government's oppressive tactics. The political environment in Uganda further deteriorated in the lead-up to the 2016 and 2021 elections. These elections were characterized by widespread reports of irregularities, voter suppression and heavy-handed tactics by security forces. The rise of Robert Kyagulanyi, popularly known as Bobi Wine, posed a significant challenge to Museveni's rule. Bobi Wine, a musician-turned-politician, galvanized the youth and became a symbol of resistance against Museveni's regime. The government's response was marked by violent crackdowns on protests and opposition rallies, resulting in numerous casualties and human rights abuses. In 2017, Museveni's allies in parliament removed the presidential age limit, a move that effectively allowed him to run for a sixth term. This decision was met with widespread condemnation both domestically and internationally. Critics argued that it undermined democratic principles and entrenched Museveni's authoritarian rule. Despite these criticisms, Museveni continued to maintain a tight grip on power, utilizing the military and security apparatus to suppress dissent and opposition. Despite the controversies surrounding his rule, Museveni's presidency has seen notable achievements. His government has made significant investments in infrastructure, healthcare and education. Projects like the Bujagali hydroelectric power station, the expansion of Entebbe International Airport, and the construction of numerous roads and bridges have contributed to Uganda's development. Museveni's administration has also been credited with improving healthcare services, reducing HIV/AIDS prevalence, and increasing access to education through initiatives like universal primary education. However, these achievements are often overshadowed by persistent issues of corruption, human rights abuses, and the suppression of political freedoms. Corruption remains a significant challenge in Uganda, with allegations of embezzlement and misuse of public funds frequently surfacing. Human rights organizations have documented numerous cases of extrajudicial killings, torture, and arbitrary arrests carried out by security forces. The media in Uganda operates under constant threat, with journalists facing harassment and censorship. The international community has had a complex relationship with Museveni's regime. While his early years in power were marked by praise for his economic reforms and stability efforts, the drift towards authoritarianism has strained relations. Western countries and international organizations have often condemned Museveni's human rights record and electoral practices. However, Uganda's strategic importance in regional security and its role in international peacekeeping missions have sometimes tempered the criticism, leading to a pragmatic approach in dealing with Museveni's government. As Museveni continues to rule, Uganda faces numerous challenges. The economy, while having seen growth, remains vulnerable to external shocks and internal mismanagement. Youth unemployment is a significant issue, with many young Ugandans expressing frustration over limited opportunities and political repression. The COVID-19 pandemic has further strained the economy and highlighted deficiencies in the healthcare system. Museveni's government has faced criticism for its handling of the pandemic, particularly regarding the transparency and efficiency of its response. The question of succession also looms large over Uganda's future. Museveni's prolonged rule has stifled the emergence of a clear successor, leading to concerns about potential instability when he eventually leaves office. The political landscape remains polarized, with opposition figures and civil society organizations advocating for democratic reforms and greater political freedoms. Museveni's legacy will likely be defined by his ability to manage this transition and ensure a peaceful and democratic transfer of power. In conclusion, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's journey from a revolutionary warlord to a long-serving president is a story of transformation marked by both achievements and controversies. His early years were characterized by a genuine commitment to liberating Uganda from oppressive regimes and implementing reforms that brought stability and development. However, as his rule extended, Museveni increasingly adopted authoritarian tactics to maintain power, undermining democratic institutions and suppressing dissent. His legacy is a complex one, reflecting both the progress Uganda has made and the challenges it continues to face under his leadership. The narrative of Museveni's presidency serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of prolonged rule and the erosion of democratic principles. It highlights the importance of strong institutions, respect for human rights, and the need for leaders to prioritize the well-being of their people over personal power. As Uganda looks to the future, the lessons from Museveni's tenure will be crucial in shaping a path towards genuine democracy and sustainable development. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more in-depth stories from Africa's past and present.